might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another Tuesday night episode of Tech Q&A with yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. All right, let's see what's going on here. Make sure everything is up and running. Where are my windows? How is everyone doing tonight? What's going on here? Still trying to figure out this new software. But we are here. We are live. We are in the building. Yes, we are live. So take this down right quick. Okay. You know what we're going to do tonight. We are going to be going through questions, whether you have questions in the chat, whether you want to call in. Like I said, new software, never used this for calling in before. You don't have to be on camera, I think. We'll figure that out. But, I want to hear from you, your questions, whatever the case may be, and we will get it moving. All right? Cool. Okay, so let's go through our agenda really quick because I still got work to do. So we are going to go through our show. We're going to answer our questions. I'm going to answer your questions. Feel free to call in. Click the link if you want to call in. And then we'll wrap it up for the night. We will wrap it up for the night. All right. So let me get this timer off right now because we don't need it right now. So agenda, real quick. I want to say thank you to all of the newest subscribers. You guys are supporting me so much and I really, really appreciate it. I don't ask for anything. If you guys want to get additional help from me, you guys know how to reach me. But I really appreciate everyone who's subscribing, who's commenting, who's interacting in the chat. All that stuff. I really, really appreciate it. I love to interact with you, see where you guys are at and what kind of content I can do to help you. So just wanted to extend my thanks to you. And I want to say a big shout out to all of my tech barbarians, my tech prodigy members, my tech explorers, and the Patreon who are continuously putting in that work. I'm going to be dropping new content, most likely early next week, about, how I organize my calendar and how you can organize your calendar. Because yesterday's show, yesterday's candid conversation, we were talking about me trying to become even more efficient at 40. And you might be saying, how is that even possible? Because you stream just about every day and you have content every day. How can you be even more efficient? Well, that is my quest to find out. All right. So with that being said, thank you again. Let's jump into our live show schedule. So, live show. Oh my goodness. See, look at this. Okay, we're good. We are good. All right, cool. So, live shows. We have on Sundays, Terraform. Software explorations, we're working our way through Terraform, making great progress. A little bit more to go, and then we'll probably be wrapping up Terraform in the next few weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months at the most. We're going to be wrapping up Terraform, and then we're going to get straight into DevOps. See, I'm leaving Sundays for infrastructure. Infrastructure is the foundation, gets our lives right. So what better way to start the week with infrastructure? So Sundays, Terraform, we're going to be moving from Terraform into DevOps, which is going to include Terraform, but we're going on to bigger and better things very, very soon. Happy that we're almost done with that. We have on Tuesday nights tonight our tech Q&A where you are free to call in. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. And we can have a conversation, as well as I'm going to be answering questions that I found as well. If you have any questions in the chat, we'll get those taken care of as well. All right. And then we have Thursday nights. We have more software explorations. We do software explorations just about every day because that's what we're here for. All right. More software explorations. And you know what? Let me do something because it's going to make me very, very upset if I don't. I'm shutting down all the other software because I didn't do that last week, Monday, and it was a mess. So I'm shutting that down. And then we will be able to. So I was working. Let me go. You see, scatterbrain. I was working on Docker for a project with the Tech Barbarians and Postman and stuff like that. So I have all these softwares open, and I don't want it to cause any distractions, slow down the stream in any way. So there we go. Things are slowed down. We are good to go. All right. So Thursdays, more software explorations. We are going to be moving into this coming Thursday. We're going to be doing starting to do automation API testing, and it might carry on for the next couple of weeks. When I was doing the presentation that's going to be coming out tomorrow on automated API testing, we're going to be looking at Postman. We're going to be looking at Rest Assured. We're going to be looking at Python. And I said, you know what? Maybe on the next couple of live streams, we can try out automation in all those tools. I've never done it in Postman before. Should be pretty straightforward to figure out. Get a guide off Google, and we can go into doing it with Python in the request library. We can go into doing it with Rest Assured in Java. Go into doing it with what's the name of that other? We can do it with Karate, as well as we can figure out how we're going to do it with JavaScript as well for all you TypeScript fanatics out there. So that's going to be this coming Thursday. We're going to start getting into automation. We might do that maybe the next 2 or 3 Thursday nights. We'll figure it out. And then, like I said, after we get done with API, we're going to get into Cucumber, BDD, Behave, things like that. So, and then we have our morning shows Mondays and Wednesday mornings. We start between 7:15, 7:45. And we are doing our Flutter mobile development after we get our cup of coffee and look at what's going on in the news for the day. All right. So that is our live show schedules. Something just about every day, something for everyone, whether you're in software dev and mobile dev, whether you're into QA, whether you're into infrastructure, something here for everyone. All right. And now that Sox is back in town, I'm going to be looking for when we can do another cybersecurity Q&A night. He's been missing in action for a while, but he is back. All right. Now let's get into our pre-recorded content really quick. We have on Mondays, Candid Conversations. The one yesterday, getting more efficient at 40. That's my goal for this upcoming year. All right. And then we have on Wednesdays, we have software explorations, concept and overviews. We're going to be talking about automated API testing this coming Wednesday. And then lastly, we have on Fridays, the Bug Bite. And I don't even remember what this Bug Bites Friday is about, but we'll find out together. We will find out together. And then we have shorts and clips from the tech Q&A show throughout the week, right? Monday through Friday, we have shorts. The shorts, they're not like, I just, whenever I feel like it. I didn't even get to drop one today. I was so busy at work. But we have the clips from the tech Q&A show from this show that they get released Monday through Friday. All right. So something here for everyone. And then there's also the members of the channel get those clips early, as well as, some other clips that I might put together only for the members. So, we do what we do. All right. So that is our pre-recorded content. And then some other times I might go live impromptu because I have work to do, or I'm thinking about doing office hours. I'll figure it out. But that is the plan. That is where we're at. All right. So that's it. Let me check the chat, and then we are going to go straight into our questions. Okay. All right. So we got my guy Sean in the chat. Says, "What up, coach? What's going on, Sean?" And Sean has a question for me. So, you know what? Let's make this our very first question of the night. No better way than to start with Sean. So I'm going to put up the timer. And we're going to read Sean's question. Let's do it like this. Trying this out, all right? Let's see. New software, folks, new software. Bear with me. Well, didn't do exactly what I wanted to do, but, you know, where is our DJ Khaled? Hold on one second. We can't do this without DJ Khaled. We can't do this without DJ Khaled. Let's see. Let me see. Because without DJ Khaled, how are we going to make it happen? Give me 1 second. I don't like this. I need DJ Khaled on my side. Let's see what we can do here. Give me 1 second, John. Give me a second, John. I'm gonna take care of this. We have to have the production right. We need to have the production right. All right. Let me see what I can do here. Okay, let's see. Let me fix that really, really quickly. Oh, I'm gonna do it. Okay, I see what's going on here. All right, well, we will do it a different way then. Why don't we? We will just go like this. See, I always having to improvise, but we are going to make it work. One more second, and we're going to get right to Sean's question. And that's why QA is important. Where is it? I don't see it. Hold on. That is so weird. Let's see. There we go. Tell you, dealing with new software is something else. All right, let's try that again. Whatever. All right, whatever. We're gonna just gonna do with what we can. So let's go to. All right. So Sean's question is, let's see, the first part. Coach, what if you had two interests? I'm interested in both QA and web dev. All right. And let's see, the second part of the question is, I'm thinking of breaking my week down and having designated days to study web dev and QA, or should I focus on one? What do you think? Cool. That is a great question, as always, by Sean. And we are going to, what's going on here? We're going to start our timer. Okay. So QA or web dev? That is ultimately the question that Sean is asking. And I'm going to say that you should learn both. I would say that the way to get great at QA is to understand the technology that you're going to be testing. And, you know, like in the past, QA people weren't very technical. and they would be able to like, find issues, find bugs, things like that. But nowadays, QAs are getting a lot more technical. They can read code, they can write code, and it's going to be very important for you to be able to identify why things aren't working. And that's why I think it would be a great idea for you to actually be able to learn, web development, right? Especially if because a lot of times when you get started off in QA, you're starting off in a like testing websites, web applications, e-commerce sites, things like that. So knowing how these things work is going to be to your benefit, not to your detriment. And on the other side as well, knowing like being able to like having the education of QA, you're going to be able to build the applications better. So they're both going to work together. When I'm a lot of the things that I do on the channel, like I have like one night that we talk about that we do QA stuff. But then all the other nights or mornings or nights, we're doing software development. And me learning these different software development things, it gives me ideas on how to test things better. If that makes sense, you you're going to be focused on like you said, you want to do part of your week, you're doing a web development, part of your week, you're going to do QA. You're going to see that they're going to blend together. The better that you're going to be at software development, the better you're going to be at QA as well, and vice versa. Because you're going to be putting in that QA mindset into your software development work, and you're going to be putting your software development work into your QA mindset. So learning the technologies, learning about, Node and React and CSS, HTML, JavaScript, databases, Mongo, SQL, all those things. Because guess what? As QA, you have to test all those things. So just imagine how much to your benefit it's going to be when you have all that knowledge. I am the work that I've always done. I want to learn more. I want to be able to do more. I want to be able to understand what the developers are talking about, what they're doing. If that makes sense, like when you are well-rounded, you put yourself in a great situation to win. So that's my thoughts about it, right? That's why I think if you were to do both, I think that's a great idea. And here's the thing. One thing that I tell some people is that, or anyone who asks, when it comes to web development and QA, the ratio of developers to QA is like 4-to-1. So for every 4 developers, there's 1 QA. So it ultimately makes it harder to get into QA than it is to get into these other industries. Is it easy? No. Like software engineering, web development, all those things are not easy to get into. But there's more of them because guess what? You can't do QA without software developers, software engineers, web developers, etc. Because there's nothing to QA if they're not building it. How can you test it? Make sense? So that's why I think and when it comes to QA, when it comes to web development, you can build your own projects. There's so many things you can do on your own where doing QA, like you're always kind of dependent on someone else. And that's why QA people have such a tough time trying to build portfolios and things like that, because if you didn't have something to test, then it's like, what do I show? I can show that I wrote some test cases and stuff like that, but it's not the same thing. You know what I mean? So that's my thoughts on it. That's the situation. All right. So hopefully that helped and gave some great insight into that. All right, let's get back to full screen. All right, so let's go back. All right. So let me know if that made sense to you. Oh, well, Sean, he already answered. He said yes, that makes sense. So hey, I think it's a great idea. Go for it. Do it. I'm always supporting you, Sean. Always supporting you. All right, let's go to our next question of the night. So I don't know what happened to this thing. Let's see. All right. So the next question is a hybrid developer slash scrum master role a thing? I'm an experienced developer that has taken initiative at my job with implementing Scrum slash Agile, leading ceremonies, setting up Kanbans, showing workflow and story best practices. On top of that, I recently got PSM1 cert as well. My vice president, my VP, has asked if I would be interested in taking lead on such things, such as ceremony, setting up Kanban, workflow, etc. And I am very interested in this. However, I don't want to lose my developer coding role at the company. On the flip side, I see a gap in our processes where I think I could play a key role. I am considering presenting a hybrid role of the two to him, but I'm not sure what that role would be called and where the lines would be drawn. Has anyone seen such a role? What was the job title, job description? And for details, our department is about 14 to 15 developers. I meant this one actually. This is kind of alarming. 4 QAs, 4 BAs, 2 PMs, 2 architects, and a VP. That is a pretty, if that's the size of the department, okay, that's fine. If it's the size of the team, like if they're all working on the same exact thing, that's kind of huge, all right? But anyways, that is not the point of this question. So let's see here. Okay, so let's answer this question then. Let's answer this question. Start the clock. All right, so the thing is with that is when the idea and the concept of agile was being presented and it was being formulated, there was, I don't believe, I could be wrong on this, and if you know, please feel free to correct me, but I don't believe there was the role of Scrum Master, right? Because it was the team that was responsible for it, and anyone could, act as the Scrum Master. But as it matured and stuff like that, the role of Scrum Master became more of a profession because they started getting a lot more responsibility. Organizing the ceremonies, taking care of the metrics, advocating. One of the biggest roles of the Scrum Master is advocating. It's so much more than setting up meetings and to because if that was the case, it would just be adult babysitters. That's not the case. That is not the role of a Scrum Master. The Scrum Masters, they add a lot of value in the sense of they will. So of course they organize a meeting and stuff like that, but they advocate for the team. They remove barriers. They advocate. They see what is blocking the success of the sprint and find out what needs to be removed. They encourage team building, and when they're in charge of the retrospectives, that is to keep the team flowing nicely in good spirits, not trying to kill each other. So now to your question, is there a dual role? It's definitely possible, but a lot of times when we have 2 full-time jobs within a 40-hour work week, you're responsible for both. So that means you're going to have to, if you're going to be developing, then you're going to have to make sure that your code is on point, and that, because as a Scrum Master who is going to be checking out the velocity and stuff like that, what if you get too busy to actually get your work done? What happens then? What happens then? So with that being said, is it possible? Definitely, but it's going to be a lot. And plus you guys have 14 or 15 developers on the team. Are you going to take are you going to be doing less, contributing less to the engineering work? and more, because you didn't say that you had a scrum master. And I think that it would be absolutely awesome to be the scrum master, but are you going to be spreading yourself thin? Because now if there's things that need to be done and you're not getting it done because you are taking care of you're trying to fulfill another role, then that might be a problem. But I would say it's definitely worth the discussion with your VP, with your manager, because it's always good to have to be organized, for lack of a better word, to be organized, to have good synergy on the team. Because I really believe in the metrics, the numbers, things like that, to make sure that we are moving in the right direction. A lot of people, they don't like tracking this type of information because it keeps them accountable. And a lot of times accountability is like kryptonite. Okay? So I think you can do it. I think you can do it, but you have to make sure that you're not going to burn, see, I almost said burn yourself out, but you know how I feel about burning yourself out. I love to burn myself out, but you have to make sure that your work is not going to suffer, because trying to do 2 jobs at once, 9 times out of 10, one thing is going to suffer. And then we don't want to become miserable and become the worst scrum master and a developer on the team, right? You don't want to do that, because then this will be you.
I hate it here. I want to go home.
See? And that's not what we want. We want you to be able to say, shake and bake, to your team. Always shaking, always baking. Okay? So that's my thoughts on it. Hopefully that helps. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Should this person take on the software engineer role and the scrum master role, or should they choose one? And here's the thing. If you're the scrum master, you can always develop. You can always develop. But if you stay as a developer, you can't always do the scrum master. So it's really up to you what your goals are. So think about it and, make the decision accordingly. Don't just rush out and make an emotional decision. Always plan, always think accordingly, and see what's in your best interest. Okay? Alrighty then. Let's go back to our next question. But before we do that, 2 things before we do that, right? First and foremost, if you haven't done so yet, do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live and drop new content, as well as if you're looking to level up your technical skills or get one-on-one coaching, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev, where you can sign up for a coaching plan as well as have access to exclusive content. All right? Okie dokie. So we have in the building already. Darcel says, good evening, fam. Good evening to you as well, Darcel. And every time Darcel gets here, we have to. We do. It's a must. It's written. It's written. And I hope you're having an amazing Tuesday night. And we have my chat co-host. Mitch says, take off the blazer, loosen up the tie. Superman is alive. It's always a party when, you see, the party doesn't get started until Mitch gets here, to be honest with you. It doesn't get started until Mitch gets here. All right. Alrighty then. So let's get to our next question of the night. Hopefully you guys are having a good time. If you are in the chat, do me a favor. Let me know where you are tuning in from and what area of tech that you are interested in. All right. So let's get to our very next question of the night. And I am so saddened that DJ Khaled did not join me tonight, but we will make do. We will make do. Test automation killing bug hunting. And that gets a And you will see why as I read it. Okay. So are there people on this sub who thinks that test automation has just killed? Wow, that's very strong words. Killed looking and hunting for defects. This is the only thing that used to give me joy in QA. All right, in that case, we're going to go with this one as well. But it seems companies only care about automation irrespective of what quality it gives. I hardly find any defects through automation. It's only good for smoke testing. What are your views? Well. Let's get to it. Because I love this question. But let's start the clock. You see, Mitch, I kind of figured out the clock. There's some things that are missing. But, you know, I'm resourceful. I am resourceful. Okay. So, is automation killing bug hunting? The answer is yes. Automation has destroyed, killed, murdered. It has murdered bug hunting. And due to that, why do I celebrate this? Because I'll tell you right now what I've been working on since Friday. We were working on something at work and we thought everything was all good and working. We deployed it and it was exactly like this, right? Where's my thing? It was like, I lost it. How did I put it? But what had happened was it didn't work. It was like, nah, not happening. Okay. Not happening. It was like this. And we had to roll it back. And the reason that it wasn't working is because we were under the impression that this thing only worked in one spot, right? But it turns out it works it has features it's like an octopus. It has speakers, it has features and stuff that makes it work all over the place, right? So what I said was, well, you know what? I'm going to see if I can update our automation to cover all of those scenarios. Now, if we have about 150 automated tests that runs in one location, and we have to expand it to like 3 or 4 locations. How in the world would you be able to test all of that by doing bug hunting? See, I don't care. And I think if as a QA, you're getting joy from finding defects, well, I find joy in working software. I find joy in once our sprint is done and our sprint goal has been met, and now the developers and me and the scrum master and the product owner, the product manager, we can just be like, oh yeah, that was a good sprint. That was a lot of work, but we got it done, and we get to, hang out, chill, have a good time. I do not find joy in finding defects over and over and over again, because guess what? If I find a bunch of defects, that means I didn't do a good job because I didn't communicate to my developers what I'd be looking for and put in their mind that QA perspective. So when there's a bunch of bugs, like one bug here and there, makes sense, right? It happens. But when we're just like looking for bugs and like, do we not have anything better to do with our times? See, like I always tell you guys, my most important resource is my time. Because I want to, like, the time that I spend, see, and this is a problem, right? And this is why you guys get fired. This is why the jobs be like this.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
See, that's why they're like that. Because you want to spend the time just bug hunting all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When are we actually getting the work done? When are we going when are we pushing it to production? Like one of the things that I used to like, it used to make me sick to my stomach. Although necessary, but it used to make me sick to my stomach of right when we're about to deploy, I find a bug. I'm like, why didn't I find this earlier? Why didn't I think of this before? And now now the deployment is being delayed because of me because I didn't find it early enough. So if automation can help catch these things, because automation doesn't catch new issues. Well, sometimes it does if you write your automation early enough, but usually you end up writing your automation after you have manually tested it and then you write your code. But I don't want to be finding the same bugs over and over and over again. A software should not have bugs that randomly creep in. It shouldn't happen. So when you're saying like finding joy in bug hunting, that means you're finding joy in not doing your job right. QAs find bugs, yes, of course, but you don't want it to be like the norm of like, oh, finding a bunch of bugs. You want to be able to stop it before it even happens. Stop it before it even happens. And that's my goal. I don't like finding it. Like, I don't want to find defects in production. When we find them and we take care of them. But I don't want that to be the norm. I don't want to find defects right before we go to deploy. And if I'm going to find a defect, I want it to be a defect while testing, a sub defect. But I'd rather the developers, the engineers, and I be on the same page so that we can prevent it from happening in the first place. You know? So what's that saying? Prevention is the best medicine or something like that? That's how I feel about it, right? Alrighty then. Hopefully that answered your question, but no, let's not. I don't find joy in bug hunting. I find joy in working software. All right? Alrighty then. Let's go back to full screen. Or I was on full screen, but let's go back to our other screen. Okay. Let's get to our next question. Nothing in the chat. All right. No one has called in. Okay. So let's get to our next question then. Why not? All right. Let's go. Okay, cool. So, it's going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. Let's get to it. What makes a great, I repeat, a great SDET? After 3 years as an SDET, I am looking for advice on how to grow in my role. I'm quite shy and rarely speak up during meetings or can't think of anything to bring up. I am good at programming and generally do well figuring out things on my own, but improving communication is often a bullet point in my performance reviews. What do other SDETs typically say or bring up in their team meetings? This is such a good one. Oh my goodness. I have to give up. I have been mostly silent participant during daily stand-ups and team meetings, taking notes about new features, bugs, and only really asking questions if something doesn't make sense to me or I found a bug/issue. My job is primarily creating automated tests, and if I run into issues, I can typically resolve them by sending a chat message to my team rather than waiting for a scheduled meeting. I often feel like a non-essential part of the team and would like tips on how to make myself more useful to my team and my company. One more time. That right there, my friends, is a question. That's a great question. And let's get the show on the road. So, what makes a great SDET? So, I want to take it away from just SDET in particular. What makes a great QA, whether you are a QA engineer, SDET, QA specialist, whatever the case may be, whether you're a developer, whatever your role is, what makes you great at it? And you have a good point. Lack of communication is a problem if you want to be more useful and like bring more value to your company, to your team. You have excellent knowledge. 3 years as an SDET, you can do a lot of things. You can figure out a lot of things. But the thing is, you are handcuffing that information because you're an introvert, right? When most people got into, tech, it was because they were introverted. They would rather like talk to their computer than talk to other people, right? So of course, I am very, very introverted as well. But for the most part, I've always been, I would get nervous and stuff like that, but I would still do, presentations and meetings and things like that. And but the thing is, when I start getting comfortable talking about what I know what I'm talking about, then I start going off and I feel like, but that's the thing. You need to practice speaking to whoever. See, me, the way that it helped me was speaking to anyone who's watching now, right? And being able to interact, being able to do more than one thing at a time, being able to shift focus, like doing a stream, there's so many moving pieces that you have to be mindful of. So that's how I got better at speaking. Like, and it's funny, right? The other day, I was talking to one of my tech barbarians who I always recommend to my tech barbarians, create little content about the things that you're learning and share that, put it on LinkedIn. And that way you're going to get more confident speaking and sharing your knowledge or information, because guess what? When you get into a company, I'm sure as an SDET you've seen this, like when you're in the sprint reviews, you're going to have to present certain things. And sometimes you're going to have to think of stuff on the fly, things like that. So being able to do that, like, see, and here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with being introverted, but you need to know that, like, you need to be able to go out there and speak in front of people. And then once you're done, then you can go back and you can decompress from all of that. But it's imperative that you are able to communicate. Another way you can become a better SDET is present stuff, learn something, and then share it. Share it to the software engineers. Share it to the other QAs, right? Those are the key things that's going to bring more value. Like coming up with new ideas on how to do things. And a lot of times, right, and I've done this in the past, is I would learn how to do something and then I'll do it, and then I don't tell anybody about it, and because I figured it out. But no, you have to broadcast your wins, and that's why on this channel, whenever you come up, and Darcel will tell you. He said last week he had an interview, and we said, you know what, we're going to celebrate that, because guess what? Do you know how many people apply for jobs and they never get called for interview? I've seen posts. It's been 6 months, it's been 8 months, it's been over a year. I put in like 3,722 applications, and I haven't gotten one call. And it's hard. It's sad to hear. So when Darcel tells me that, he has an interview, and it went well, going to part 2, I'm like, I'm going to celebrate that. I am always going to celebrate that. So you need to put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. A lot of times we're afraid of the criticism and stuff like that, but criticism, no matter how it comes, whether it's harsh, whether it's kind, whatever the case may be, it is going to help you grow. They can say, oh, you sucked, it was stupid, whatever. You learn from that. In jiu-jitsu we have the saying, you either win or you learn. And that's why whenever I've been learning a lot. Right, I've been learning a lot, but I don't get discouraged. Like I said in yesterday's video, I move on to the next. Always chasing the next thing. I don't harp on when things didn't go my way. I review it and say, okay, that's what I did wrong. Okay, let me make adjustments to it. And sometimes we do the same things wrong over and over and over again, but we're still learning. We're getting better every single day. And for you to get better, start learning new technologies, start learning new softwares, learn new languages, and share it. The infrastructure that you might be working on, the things that you might be finding, share with other people. Present in sprint reviews. Ask questions about the application. Like if a lot of times what happens is, just to add to this before we wrap this one up, we might understand something, but you might want to ask a question to have it spoken about a little bit more so that everybody can be on the same page, even if you understand it. But there might be other people who might be thinking something. And so you ask the question and you guys have a discussion. Ask questions about the acceptance criteria, ask questions about what's not working. And then they're gonna be like, oh yeah, like he's really thinking about what's going on. He's adding value. He's being productive. All right. So that's my thought. Let me know what your thoughts. Am I missing anything? Am I off on anything? All right. All right. We're gonna wrap this one up with a bow on top. All right, so I'm gonna check the chat, but before we check the chat, if you haven't done so already, do me a big favor: like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live and drop new content. All right. So Mitch says that he himself is an introvert and that he doesn't like to speak. Yes, Mitch, we know that you do not like to speak because I don't see you on any other channel speaking as much as you speak here, but I appreciate you speaking so much here. I really appreciate it. I mean, do I have this? Let's see. I appreciate you. I don't know how that happened, but we'll get that fixed. That was weird. That was weird. But, you know, new software, new technology. We are agile methodology. Guess what? I should have done QA. Sorry. Okay. Let's get into our next question of the night. Let's get rid of this on the screen. Oh, wait. Before we do that, let's read Darcel's comment that just came in. Darcel said, I'm extroverted. I'm an extroverted introvert. That's what I'm talking about. Spark conversations with engaging questions and present relevant info to help with shyness. Yup. There you go. That's the strategy right there. And you know, I'll say this too, right? Back in the days, you can get away in tech with being an introvert, but nowadays it's not that easy anymore. It's not that easy anymore because now that you have the extroverts who are coming into the field, they're giving you a run for your money. So you're going to have to be able to communicate. Communication is very, very important. Okay. And lastly, Mitch says, honestly, I'm opening up. Yeah. We see, and we celebrate that, Mitch. We celebrate it. All right, so let's get to our next question of the night as we move on. All right, let's do it. What? I don't know what's going on with this thing. That is so weird. Where is it?
I hate it here.
Oh my goodness. They're all messed up.
I want to go home.
Oh my goodness, this software is going crazy. All right, let's do this again. All right, let's go. I am a lead QA in need of situational advice. So I just joined a company a few months back, which was a services-based company which had ties up with product-based startups from America and Europe. They sourced our skills to the intended client. I joined the company at a lead level, completed my probation successfully over the last month, and suddenly suddenly, I noticed the product startup is firing people month by month. See it becoming a trend. I initially felt like the right thing was happening. I was getting good feedback about my work until I got fired out of the blue. Wow, that really sucks. When asked for the reason and instances behind the decision, they said they weren't happy with my tech abilities. When asked for pointed instances, they said they had none to show. But it's their decision and they want me to send out my resignation. Why don't you just don't ask me for a resignation? What do you think? I work for the president? No, fire me. This is the first time I am in a situation like this. They need to give me notice period along with a valid reason and a failed PIP, performance improvement plan, which shows I put no effort for my growth at the very minimum, severance if terminating before notice period. And above all, a valid reason, my head has been all over the occurrence. Any experience and advice on handling this situation will really help. All right. So okay, that was hard to read. The grammar was not the best on that one. Okay, but still a question. And first of all, I would say sorry for the situation you're going through. It's definitely not ideal. But guess what? We can't cry over spilled milk. There's plenty of people who are looking for jobs and stuff like that, and you're just gonna have to get back on the trend. Like, a lot of times we get depressed and discouraged over whatever might have happened at a company, and whether it's true or not, because they might just be saying it because they can't afford to keep you. It's possible. They might be saying, oh, you're not performing because they might want to get out of like paying you whatever money they're supposed to pay you. But thing is, you have to move on, right? Like if you are able to take some type of legal recourses because you might be in a company where you're able to, that's what it sounds like, do it. But you're gonna have to move on. You're gonna have to find another job. The competition is fierce. So while you'll be sad and complaining and upset and things like that, someone else is gonna be getting the job that could be yours. So focus, focus, and start looking around and start, because like I said, if it is true that your technical abilities were lacking, well, improve them. Join me on the Sunday stream. Join me on the Thursday streams. Join me in the mornings where we are writing code every single day. We're exploring, we're doing API testing every single day. So you simply you need to do whatever you need to do to find another thing. And in addition, we need to increase our skills so that we need to be more dynamic. We need to be able to do like other things instead of like, oh, I can only do QA. Oh, I can only write JavaScript. Oh, I can only do Java. Like, no, we need to, expand our horizons, expand our skill sets. I am happy that I am able to build software, build mobile apps and things like that, work on databases, work on Terraform, setting up infrastructure, because it makes me more flexible, more able to contribute, more able to add value. I don't want to be like the person, like when things need to happen, that I'm the first one that they're looking at to say, okay, well, we got to get rid of something. He only knows how to do this one thing, and this other person knows how to do that one thing and 3 other things. So he's going to go and this person's going to stay. And then the things that I learn, I leverage it because, like I said before, what I learn on my own on Terraform and stuff like that, I go back and I'm able to apply it to the things I'm doing at work. A lot of things that I learn at work, I'm able to use that knowledge to be able to do on my own things that I'm building. So it's just like the circle of knowledge. I don't know. The circle of knowledge, maybe. So that's what I want you to think of. I don't want you to cry over spilled and spoiled milk, because now that the milk is spoiled and it's spilled, now it smells bad, right? We can't cry over it. We have to clean it up. Get some bleach, throw it on the floor, get some floor cleaner, whatever the case may be. If it's on carpet, get some carpet cleaner and make it happen. And now start looking for your next position. And when you start to level up your skills, you get better opportunities. Because would you really want to stay at a company that you'll be on thin ice every single day? You never know when that day is going to come, or it's going to be you that's on the chopping block. I wouldn't feel comfortable there. Put yourself in the best position to win always. You always have to put yourself in the best position to win. Simple as that. All right. I mean, it's very sad news. Honestly, I hate to hear that. You know, I'm also like, but we can move on. We can do better. All right. So that's all I got for that one. You know, try to work it out with them. See if they can give you your severance and things like that. But if it, you know, if some people, some companies can be shady, but whatever the case may be, you're going to have to move on. You're going to have to find something else. You're going to have to level up your skills. All right. And on that note, all right. Okay, so let's get to our next question of the night. Let me check the chat real quick. See if there's anything coming in. And Mitch is a very true statement that he said, from one word to now paragraphs. See, Mitch used to just come in with a thumbs up and a yo, and now he comes in with a hello, or he comes in with a take the blazer off, loosen up the tie, Superman is alive. See, Mitch is coming out of his shell. He is coming out of his shell. All right, and you know what? It's because I stopped wearing the heat hat. Now that I'm wearing this other hat, he's like, you know, okay, now we can talk. And, you know, it's cool. All right, let's get to our next question of the night. So we have, let's start our, we got to fix this thing. Do you guys take notes while learning? I recently bought a course from Udemy and wanted to transit myself from a manual to automation engineer. That's what I'm talking about. The current course is of REST assured API. What I'm wanting to know is how do you learn anything online? Or I don't know, that's a weird, grammar. Do you take notes while learning or start playing with stuff while you are learning? During my academics, I am a person who takes notes while studying. It helps me memorize or helps me focus. Kindly share your insight. I am a QA engineer with 6 years of experience. Shout out to you for 6 years of experience. So this transition is really important for me. I know I am late. Yes, you are very late. Help me with my new journey. Okay, cool. Thanks in advance. All right, cool. So let's go to start the clock. And I don't like taking notes, to be honest with you. I try taking notes. I never go back and read them. I never go back and study them. I'll try to take notes in different applications and stuff like that. And then I lose it. I don't even know what application they're in. And I open up the application, I'm like, oh, that's where these notes are, right? I am not a note taker. I am such not a note taker that when I have meetings, any meeting that I have now, like outside of work, but when I'm doing my meetings and my coaching calls or my Scrum Night meetings, whatever the meeting may be, I have my AI assistant joins the call and takes notes and gives me a summary and then emails them to me, because I like to focus on the conversation And I'm also like monitoring different things. So now to add on top of it, I have to take notes and try to like, and you want me to pick out what's important and what's not important. I let AI do that. So I'm not a big fan of taking notes. Now, some people, they like to learn with notes and stuff like that. But me, I don't memorize things. That's one thing about me. I don't memorize. I will research and look it up. And so I get the general idea and concept of how to do it. And then when it comes time to doing it, I'll just like use my resources to get it done. So that way there is so many different things to learn and to do. And I'm able to figure, like, it might take me a little bit longer, but I'm able to figure out so many different things. Like I said, like the thing that we're working on at work. This could have been a massive, massive time-consuming project, which could have delayed us like even more. But through innovation and quick thinking, through critical thinking, I was able to come up with something to get us further. And I think when we are more into memorization and stuff like that, it kind of stifles our creativity. And that's why I don't like to memorize things. And that's why, like, when it comes to these certifications and these tests, and it's like, oh, I just have to memorize this and pass this test. But then when it comes time to actually act in the field and to perform, then we miss the mark. So that's why my learning style is different, because I'm not trying to memorize stuff. I'm trying to understand it. Why does it work that way? How does it work? And then when it comes time to it, then I just go to it and I start to start writing it out. And then when I get stuck on something, I say, okay, what was this command again? What was this? And then I look it up and then I get it to work. See, and that's why I'm always running like over and over and over again, so I can have that immediate feedback to know if I'm doing it right, if I'm doing it wrong. When you see me doing the Flutter in the morning, I don't memorize a lot of the things. And Flutter's a totally new application, new language for me. And look how much we've been able to do and just working on it mostly in the mornings. I'm not like memorizing every single line of code or every single theory or concept. I'm just great at looking things up and figuring out how to get them done. And then now it starts to stick. So now that I've done it before, when I have to do it again, I'm like, okay, I remember I did this and I did something like this, I did something like that. And I start researching again on how to do it exactly, because I never do the same thing over and over and over again, So so understanding the concept is going to help me to remember the right way to get things done. All right. So think about it like that. If you're a note taker, great, take your notes, but you want to build your creativity. You want to build your critical thinking skills. To me, that is the most important thing that you can have, is critical thinking skills, because it's going to help you really, it's going to help you figure things out. It's going to help you figure things out. And that is how you get paid the big bucks. It's not get paid to just like write these automation tests over and over and over and over again and run them over and over and over again. It's when you come into a roadblock, when you come into a problem, how do you fix it? And here's the difference. A lot of times with QA engineers and with software engineers, right? Software engineers, they're amazing at solving any type of like building a solution, figuring out a software. But QA engineers, they're like, okay, there's this tricky testing scenario. How are we going to test this thing, this amazing solution that the software engineers built? How can we test it efficiently and effectively? And now that memorization is not going to get you there. The memorization is not going to get you there. The ability to think on your feet and to move around, maneuver into trying different things out based on the concept that and then once it works, now you have a solution that you can implement. So that's my thoughts. That is how I see it. Do I take notes? Personally, I don't really take notes when I'm learning stuff. If I was studying for a certification, maybe I'll take notes so I can memorize it and get my certification. But I would rather be doing, right? And I learn through doing, through getting my hands dirty. When I did the QA meetup at the beginning of this month, right? Maybe 2 weeks ago now. I asked everyone, I go, so what is your learning style? And everyone said, it's hands-on, getting my, getting my hands on it, seeing something run, seeing it work. That's that's my learning style. And, I totally agree with that. All right. So, hopefully that helps. But everyone's learning style is different. So do what works for you. But remember, do not give up on creativity. Make sure you're being very, very innovative, because innovation solves problems. All right. All right. I need some water. I always see these people on live streams and they're going for like hours, and I never see them take a drink of water. I'm like, don't you get thirsty? Doesn't your throat get dry? Like, come on. Hydration is important, okay? So let's check the chat real quick. Anything in there? I don't see anything in the chat. Okay, cool. Let me check one more thing before we get to our next one. All right. So let's go to back over here. And before we go to the next one, if you haven't done so yet, do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time that we go live, and drop new content, because I am here to help you win. Okay? Here to help you win. So what's so funny, Mitch? What is so funny? Okay. He must be laughing at my. It's not energy drinks, Mitch. It's not energy. It's just water. It's just water. Okay. All right. Let's get to our next one. For the night. We are cruising through. Do you use a tool for your daily stand-ups? And that's the Agile daily stand-ups. I've never been in a team that has used any kind of online tools for daily stand-ups, but I'm exploring the idea. Over the years, we've moved from standing around reading dot points on note cards. You actually did that? To walking a board on Jira together. Both had positives and negatives that I feel like a tool could solve. I know there are options out there, but I'm wondering if anyone has any success with them, or if you would still stick to in-person Zoom. So, with that being said, here's how I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to start the clock first. But while tools are helpful, the more tools that I see being implemented and stuff like that, the less people use them and collaborate and stuff like that. So when I am doing my coaching, if you're a tech barbarian, so I'm bringing you into a project so you can get experience on Scrum and Jira and Agile and all that good stuff, right? Docker, pretty much like learning how to test or build software. And I had set up a daily stand-up bot where it sends a meeting, or it sends a message in Slack in the morning so you can give your updates. And then after a certain amount of time, it gives a report. Well, would you be able to guess what the percentage of usage is of that? Very, very low. I'll say less than 25%. I do it every day because it is, like, for me, being organized, keeping track, being consistent is very important to me, right? But the part that I can't understand is for people who are dying, who are begging to get into tech, can't do they can't take 2 to 3 minutes to do a daily stand-up. Now, that's why I actually appreciate, and you don't appreciate it until you see the other side. You don't appreciate it until you see the other side. I appreciate the daily stand-up meetings, like when we're on Zoom or whatever the case may be. If we're in person, we're on Zoom, where we get to share our updates, we get to ask each other questions and things like that, as opposed to the bot. I am not a fan of the bot. The reason that I use the bot is because I work for a company. I have a regular 9 to 5 job and stuff like that. I cannot be doing daily stand-ups with people outside of work. But the fact that you don't take the opportunity to get familiar with it, to train yourself, of an easy way to do what you're gonna have to do every single day on the job that you're dying to get into, you're doing yourself a disservice. So, are there tools around stand-ups that could be helpful? Yes. But should they replace the actual ceremony? Because to me, someone asked me, like, what would you say is the most important agile ceremony? And, some people will say the retrospective. Some people will say the review. Some people will say the planning. Some people will say the what is that other meeting called? Refinement, the story refinement. I always go for the stand-up meeting because that is where we get together on a daily basis and we see where like how we're progressing, if anybody needs help, if there's any blockers, what we did the day before, what we got accomplished the day before, what we plan on accomplishing the current day, how are we on track with our sprint goal, is there anything else that we need to do, is there anything else that came up? That is the spot to do it. So to me, that is the most important meeting to have. And now we can have tools that facilitate around it that might be able to take notes and send notes about it, whatever the case may be. But that meeting is essential in my book. Absolutely essential in my book. All right. So that part you're gonna have to figure out, like, what is the tools that you want to use? How can you make it more efficient? But by all means, do not let it replace your daily scrum meetings, your daily stand-ups, because you're going to be losing a lot of valuable information and insight and context to, like, because when you actually get together and you speak, and a few years ago I would have never said this, but when I went in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. People they want to gain experience, they're going to figure it out, and then nothing, right? So do yourself a favor, keep your meetings scheduled, and enjoy the fact that you can actually get together and communicate and talk and help each other out, getting like, because at the end of the day, the number one goal is customer satisfaction, customer success and customer satisfaction. Everything else is going to work from there. Okay. So consider it, and hopefully that brings some help and some insight into your question. All right. So Mitch says, no, don't the people get thirsty? That's what I was wondering, because I'm like, they'll be going and going and going, and I'm like, man, do you ever take a drink? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me, right? I'm about to take another drink. Alrighty then. So, before we get to our last 2 questions of the night, do me a big favor. Go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live and drop new content. All right. Let's get back to our full screen. I keep saying that. We are in full screen. Okay. So let's get to our next question of the night. What do you look for in a company you want to work for? I see several posts on how to get into QA daily, but something I don't tend to see as often is for those that are thinking of going to other companies after a couple of years of experience. what to look for in companies, maybe some red flags. Some background, I work at a large Fortune 500 company. I've got a few years of experience, but I still feel somewhat junior and not at the more senior level my company has me at. I've learned a ton, but I am afraid if I go somewhere else, I don't have the basic QA theory and methodologies down. So great question. I actually felt that way. Like back then, right? And I'll tell you this. I'm going to start the clock. But a few things on this question. So the first thing is you never know enough. Like, simple as that. You will never, ever know enough. But you will have the opportunity to learn. So going back to the previous question about like, your learning style, taking notes and things like that, you want to be a sponge, learning from all your developers, all the other QA people, things like that. And when my first QA role, it was working in web, I don't know how to explain it, but pretty much they translated websites, right? Into like they had a technology translating websites. We QA'd that technology, QA'd our clients' websites, things like that. Going from that company, I went to a mobile, I guess you could say a mobile marketing type company, right? Like through text messages, and then later on RCS marketing, like business to consumer. So I had never worked in the mobile marketing text message SMS technology. So that was a learning curve. And that was my first real exposure to API testing as well. And I was the sole like they didn't have any automation there before. So I was the one to build out the entire framework and things like that. So, and then going from there, I went to a pharma company where I was validating configurations of these massive softwares that's built for pharmaceutical companies, testing out the configuration. Never had worked in pharma before at all. So learning about different certifications and regulations and how the chain of command goes and everything like that, totally different. So that was another learning curve. And then now working in the video streaming and coding and stuff like that industry, another learning curve. But like I was talking about before, being innovative, being creative, being able to soak in the knowledge, that has done wonders for me because I'm able to ramp up pretty quickly and understand. And then I also like to try things out. So one of the first streams that we did on this channel was two of the first streams that we did, right? It was trying to figure out Selenium Wire. What type of configuration would make it work? Because that was one of the things I was working at, in my first few months there, or maybe first few weeks, there was a limitation to some of the things that I wanted to do that Selenium Wire was supposed to solve. And I learned so much about it and I streamed it. That was like one of my first things I started streaming. The other thing was about HLS, like manifest, M3U8 files, the M3U8 parser, figuring out how that works and things like that. But I had never worked in the industry, but being able to understand. So when you're talking about that you feel junior, although you're at the more senior level, well, there's always opportunity to upskill, and a lot of people, they don't take advantage of the opportunity. And many companies are willing to pay for you to get more knowledge, more information. Some companies will pay for it, like they'll get you a Udemy subscription. Some companies will pay for you to go to college and things like that. So you have to make use of those resources. Now, things that you look for in a company, or things that I look for in a company, right? It depends on what type of company I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a startup, then I know that I'm going to be wearing many hats. And to be honest with you, I like wearing many hats. I like being dynamic. Because I don't get bored. I'm always like, okay, I have downtime here. Let me go work on something else. Well, okay, now comes time to we have work to do. Let me go back and let me do this. So being in that mindset that I always have something to do. I never get bored. I'm never just like sitting around. So I would say, depending on the type of person you are, like, because you might be the type of person who just wants to like, I just want to show up, do my job, and go home. Okay, well, then you're always going to always feel that like you could do more, you could be better, but or you could be the person that, I'm here to learn, I'm here to innovate, I'm here to grow, I'm here to contribute. Now, those type of people, they get noticed, they get acknowledged, they go further. And I think that is the mind. Like for me, that's the type of mindset that I look to work with. I was telling you the other day, like one of the guys that I work with at work introduced to Docker, and now like to Docker and some other Python libraries, and I just created some amazing work. But before that, had no idea about any of these tools. No idea about Docker. I gotta turn this thing off. That's annoying. Hold on. Let's turn that off. Okay. So yeah, no idea about Docker, no idea about all those tools. And I'm like, read the documentation. Go here, read this, read that. Like create an amazing project. So it's really about like, and if you're looking for a large company where you can just sink in and get no visibility and just collect the paycheck, you can do that too. But remember, it's when you see these massive layoffs happening and they're getting rid of like thousands of people, just be aware and know what you're signing up for, because it's highly possible. So I'm always looking to be dynamic. I'm always looking to flow and to be able to contribute and things like that. All right. So hopefully that gives some insight into like what I look for in a company. I'm looking for growth. Can I grow? Can I contribute? Can I learn? And of course, there is
Money.
yeah, of course, all right? Of course. Anyways, that is that question. And let's go to here. And we are up to our last question for the night. We are at our last question of the night. Before we get to the last question, do me a big favor. If you are enjoying the show, go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we drop new content and that we go live. I love going live and interacting with you. It's been a long day. Trust me. It's been a long day, and we are going to wrap it up very, very soon. Let's get to our last question of the night. Agile and testing. Have you guys felt a bias against testers in a development team where your immediate manager is a developer or has a developer background? Ugh, people, come on, let's do better. So I think since Agile came into the picture, teams had devs and testers on the same team being managed by a developer manager. Testers suffer a lot. Oh my goodness. I don't have my sound for this one. Managers expect testers to finish all testing within sprints, but doesn't fix the issue of developers delivering code late in sprint, leaving not much time to test. I think it makes sense to be managed by a person who has the same background as you have. It used to be like this only, but Agile has messed it up. Thoughts? Can this be fixed within the Agile framework? That is a great question, actually. That is a great question. All right, let's start the clock before we wrap this one up for the night. So, to be honest with you, you kind of have a point. Like, you do have a point, right? I'm gonna be honest, you have a point. And like in my let me see. Whatever. No, like, all the roles that I had, my manager was not on the team. So because in Agile, you have a a Scrum team or a Kanban team, whatever the case may be, with the developers, the product owner, the Scrum master, the developers, and whoever else might be part of the team, right? And then, for me at least, I've had a manager that's outside of the team. So, and that's the situation that I'm in now. And we have and at my current company, we have a whole QA team, chapter, things like that, which is separate from the developers. So I speak with a bunch of people all the time, right? And for us, QA, we have our metrics and things like that. So our goals that we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to contribute to the software development team. So I've heard that sentiment before, that a lot of people feel that QAs are getting the short end of the stick, and I've had situations where software gets delivered, like the code gets the code gets delivered late, right? And now we have to test it, but honestly, trying to rush the testing is what's going to inevitably lead to issues in production, which we don't want. So we need to be able to take a step back, and it's tough because when we have a sprint ending at a particular date, and we're like, oh, we got to get it done. We feel all this pressure on us, but what's more important? Getting it delivered and having bugs, or taking your time and say, hey, we're going to need an extra day or two before we are comfortable to push this to our customers, because like I said, we do not want to have bad customer experience, bad customer service, and have a poor customer satisfaction report. So does QA get the short end of the stick? They can, if you do not advocate for yourself. Just because your manager might be from a developer background, well, you're not from a developer background. Well, maybe you are, but let's say you are now. You're not a developer. You are QA. You have to advocate for QA and express and explain why you're doing the things the way that you're doing, and why, if you're getting the code or whatever it is that you're testing, the software, a day or two before delivery, that you might not make it. Especially if all the software engineers are working on their own thing, and then now with a day or two left in the sprint, you get like 4 or 5 different stories that need to be tested. That's not going to work out in your best favor. So you need to be an advocate. You need to say, okay, here is the way that we're working. Here are the metrics that we're tracking. Here is what we have in place. And in order for us to have enough time to be able to test, we need to get it delivered by this date. Or we need to do progressive testing. Or we need to have reliable automated tests and unit tests, API tests, all these type of things, so that the manual testing effort is minimal, and that while development is being done, you can be contributing to adding more to the automated tests. See, there's very many strategies that, if we would not complain about how, our lot in our company, not in life, but our lot in the company is not right and things like that, we can start thinking about the solutions. So one of the solutions that I employ is, after I get my test plan done of what are the scenarios, and I have a conversation with the developers about it, now I'm going to see, okay, what can I do? Can I start to automate? Can I start staging data so that once it's done, ready to go, I can either start running my automation test, my new automation test, or I can finish it up, or I can now do the testing. And now we're a lot more further. And because I had the conversation early with the developers, like I was mentioning earlier, we don't have to. We are at less risk for having defects popping up. We're at less risk because we did the ground lifting. We had conversations during our refinement. We had conversations during the planning. We had conversations about it during the stand up. We had a meeting where we talked about, okay, this is what I'm going to be looking for testing, and the developers are telling me, okay, yeah, but you didn't consider this. We're going to be touching this part as well. We're going to want to test this, and that right there is how we work together so that you can lessen the blow of when things are getting delivered. Another thing, one more thing before we wrap it up. If you see that stories are like too big, too heavy, then advocate for breaking the stories up into smaller bite-sized pieces so that, okay, the developer, they have like, instead of an 8-point story, it now goes down to like a 3, which is smaller deliverable, where you can test that and deploy that while they start building the new part. Which, so let's say within the first 3 days, they finish the first part and you test it and you deploy it. And now while they're working on the next part, once that's ready, you test it and you deploy it. And then now within the last few days, they finish the last part and you have a very small part to test and to deploy. Continuous delivery, continuous deployment, continuous testing. All right. So I think that those are the ways that you can navigate. You can navigate the field. Is there bias against testers? There could be some places. I don't feel any bias against me at my company. But, and I don't think I've ever really felt much bias. Like there's been times that things get delivered late, but I try to not let it be the norm. And we have to advocate for, doing things the right way. All right. So hopefully that gave you some insight. Hopefully that helped. Okay. And that is it. That is it for tonight. We have come to the end of the road. Hopefully you had a great time hanging out with me, hanging out with Mitch, hanging out with Darcel. And that amazing first question that we got from Sean. We're going to wrap it up. I am going to be going live tomorrow morning. We're going to be working on our Flutter mobile development. We're going to continue writing our widget test. And then we're going to be adding that clear all button to clear all the fields. And then we're going to be looking to pushing to the mobile app stores at iOS and Android, Google Play Store. All right, that's the plan. Tomorrow we're going to be having our software explorations video on API automated testing. And then, like I said, Thursday we're going to be going live on how to automate API testing. So we have the overview tomorrow. Take notes if you want. And then we have the live implementation the following night. So something for everyone. Okay. It's going to be a very, very good show. Very, very, this week is going to be good. All right. This week is going to be good. But with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. On your way out, if you haven't done so, do me a favor, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. And I have a question for you. The question is,
are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Just a question. Are you entertained? Did you have fun tonight? I had a great time. I really appreciate you all for being here. But, Mitch, you know what time it is. Yesterday's price is not today's price. And today's price is not, I repeat, it is not tomorrow's price.
One more thing. Price of the brick going up.
The price of the brick is going up. All right. But on that note, I'm going to get out of here. Long day. Still got some stuff to do. Appreciate you all for being here. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday night. I'll see you guys in the morning. I will see you guys in the morning doing Flutter mobile development. And on that note, this is Tech Coach Ralph. And we are out.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.